Welcome back, guys, to another trade recap. I actually recorded this before, but I have to record it again because my mic wasn't on at the time, so that's a shame. This is coming right off of the last video. Right now, I'm sitting at 6%. So that's great. If I was trading in November 2020 with my current skills, I would have passed a challenge, funded challenge, so that's great. In 4 days, might I add. That's incredible. Let's see if we can keep this up. If you guys want to see, like, a lot of my other trade. Oh crap, this is another section. I was struggling, bro. I made 6% in June, then I lost all of it in July, and then I'm up 1% again. It's like, yo, I'm telling you, trading is some tough stuff, bro. And then my other stats here was doing good, and then I was doing good, and then I lost 6% in 1 month. Yo, trading is so humbling. It doesn't matter how good you get, it's just always freaking humbling, bro. But let's just get right into this trade recap right off the bat. All right, I'm gonna clear the chart. So looking at the daily chart on both NASDAQ and ES, if we're taking into account the weekly profile, we can see that if you watched the last video, you can see that on Monday we took out this low and closed back within the range. So that is a very bullish indication there. And then if you look at ES, you can see that we have a C2 closure right here, and we close back in the range again. So as I said, very bullish intention here. And then you can see that Monday we had an expansion candle. So then going into Tuesday, I'm going to expect expansion, Wednesday expansion, unless proven otherwise. We have a lot of low resistance here, so I basically wouldn't be surprised if we just rip through all of that, which we have been doing. So coming into Thursday, I'm also very bullish, as you can see. I will say the only thing about Thursday is that we have very much expanded a lot on the week already, and this is our 4th expansion candle. So at the same time, I am bullish, but at the same time, I'm a little bit hesitant because we could see maybe a near end of week reversal type situation. But as you can see, we're still just propelling upwards. Obviously, our long-term draw is here and here, as I've delineated on the charts on both NASDAQ and ES. So I went in with a very, very bullish bias. Now let's clear the charts again, and let's go to the 4 hour. Now on the 4 hour, I'm going to mark out my 1800 candle and my 600 candle, and that's on both charts. And then I'm just going to basically look and see if I see anything that supports that bullish bias, right? And I'm also going to look to see if we've had a relevant low of day created or relevant high of day created. Now, if we put in a relevant low of day, going into New York, I want to see us trade away from that, because that would be your open low, high, close, right? So if we make a low, so if we have a low of day, we want to trade above that. That means the low of day has already been put in, and we want to trade away from that. So that is what I'm looking for on the 4 hour chart, along with SMTs. Now, if we put on back this, basically our drawings or whatever, you can see that the 800 candle is delineated by this, and the 600 candle is delineated by this light blue line. It's kind of hard to see, but it's not something that I really want to be in my peripheral view all the time. I don't want to have like it on my mind all the time. It's just something I want to take note of. That's why it's a very light color that, you know, if you're paying attention, you can see it, but if you're not paying attention, it's not going to really distract you from everything else that you're looking at. Now, if we come over here to the 800 candle, you can see that we have a SMT put in, right? I would not say this is a relevant SMT or a relevant low of day indication, just because it's very small. It's only one candle. It's not a very long wick either, but at the same time, I can think that maybe this could be our low of day potentially. Other than that, I don't really see anything on the 4 hour chart that will give us that bullish indication. So I had to go down to the 1 hour chart to get a closer look at that daily profile. And if you're wondering what is the daily profile is just looking at it's basically the same thing as the 4 hour chart, just maybe a more zoomed in look at what's going on, because on the 1 hour, you can see how Asia interacted with London and how London interacts with New York. So if we see Asia expand and then London also expand, we probably want to see New York expand as well. But there are different cases. I'm not going to say this is always the case, because sometimes we can be overextended on the day, and we could be running into an area of interest like these highs here, which we could see a reversal from, but this is not the case here, right? So typically, if London expands, we want to see New York expand as well. But I cannot stress enough that this is very circumstantial. You have to have multiple confluences in place to support said bias, right? Now, just because London expanded, I'm not necessarily thinking that New York is going to expand. I need something more, maybe like a fair value gap, or maybe an SMT put in, a low of day put in, not a low of day, but like an SMT put in. So maybe we're being supported up by a fair value gap along with an SMT, or maybe an SMT has been put in along with multiple confluences, such as a two-state SMT, a two-stage crack and correlation, or something of that sort. If you guys aren't familiar with these terms, these are from the GXT/fractal model trading models. You can check those out on T-Trade's channel and Garrett's channel, so GXT Trades. You can look them up. There's another YouTuber by the name of 11 Trades. He also covers these concepts as well, so definitely some good resources to look into. Now, on the 1 hour, I don't really see anything of necessary interest. I did look at here to see if we had, I did look at Asia and London to see if we had any SMTs. Not that it's super relevant to New York, but just want to see how price has been delivering since the start of the new day's candle opening, which is down here, right? So nothing of significance. Coming into the 9:30 open, we didn't have any SMTs, so didn't really see anything of interest too much on the 1 hour. So I went down to the 30-minute just to get a little bit more zoomed in. I did find this fair value gap here, and this fair value gap on ES. So this fair value gap on NASDAQ, this fair value gap on ES. Now, I wanted to see a sweep. If we're going to go higher, I want to see a SMT or some type of sweep initiated, right? So at market open, we come down, we put in an SMT. This would be a fair value SMT fill because it comes back into this fair value gap here. And we put in an SMT. As you can see, ES never even saw that low, and we propelled back up. So at this point, I'm like, oh, cool. Okay, so I'm just going to jump right down to the 3-minute, and we're going to see if we can get a trade off of this. Now, I will say that on NASDAQ, we did invalidate this fair value gap here, but it's fine because as you saw on the 30-minute, we were still respecting that 30-minute fair value gap, so that is completely fine. And on ES, we never even went below this fair value gap. So this was a very bullish indication to me. Now, at this point, now that we have our SMT, we have our sweep, and we are now changing strength back to the upside, what am I looking for now? What do I need to see to put on a trade? Well, I need to see a change in state of delivery, CISD, basically. And yeah, that's basically really it. And then along with time. So time, then price, right? Time is more important than price. Time and price, you need to align them together. So now we are looking at 9:39. This is 9:39 time of day when we start to get this change in state of delivery. But I decided to enter in early here because I know that if price is supporting expansion and not really doing any deep retracements, we are likely to just rip and not give us a chance to enter. So at this point, as we were nearing this, I saw that we put in an order block. So I was like, okay, if we're going to go up, I think this would be a good entry because maybe we would tap back into this order block, maybe not even come back down here. Well, I mean, in a good bullish trade, we wouldn't even want to see these lows anywhere near them. So I decided to enter here, and I used my standard deviation to just get a projection, but I targeted a 2R trade here. I could have targeted up here, but honestly, I'm completely fine with, your simple 2R, and that was delivered. Now, I marked out this as an existing high, but this would have definitely not have given me that 1 to 2 trade that I'm typically looking for. So I basically just use a Fibonacci to give me another estimate of what price could realistically do. So I anchored my Fibonacci from this low to this high to get a projection, and I just went straight to 1 standard deviation. Now, I probably could have did this as well because this is another swing high here. And this would have given me this, which actually would have been better because I would have gotten maybe a near 1 to 3 trade. But I'm completely fine with the 1 to 2R that I had. And that is basically how this trade played out. Now, if you watched my last video, I do say that it is very important to pick which asset to take a trade on because of situations like this. You could have totally taken this trade on NASDAQ. However, as you can see, we never even saw that complete 2R because NASDAQ is the weaker asset and ES was the stronger asset. As you can see, we ripped way below and we were not supported up very efficient. Well, not efficiently per se, but we weren't supported we didn't see like a large expansion as we did on ES. As you can see, this is the stronger asset because we never even saw that low, and ES typically tends to be the stronger asset when it comes to bullish moves, and NASDAQ might be the better asset if you're coming to bearish moves. But I definitely think it depends. That is not always the case. You have to use some form of discretion when making these choices. But yes, so you could have taken this trade on NASDAQ. However, you wouldn't have seen your full TP. Maybe if you held this overnight, which is not recommended, it might hit the TP, but typically we want to be done before 11, which is what we got here, and price was delivered very efficiently. Now, if you wanted to enter on NASDAQ, you could have simply entered once we had a closure above this CISD, and then if you wanted another projection, which typically our real target would have been up here, oh, that's an existing high. Maybe not that high. Maybe here at most would have been a realistic target. But regardless, we actually did see that high. Actually, no, we didn't. We didn't see it. So yeah, that's very unfortunate. But yeah, that's just, you know, a matter of playing the game. So there's an advantage to having multiple assets because you can basically take the more efficient trade here, to give yourself a better chance of getting your maximum TP essentially. But that is really it. This trade was delivered very beautifully, but that's why it's so important to pick the right asset, because if I had taken this on NASDAQ, I wouldn't have seen my full TP, which would have been very unfortunate. I mean, the good thing about this though is regardless, you would have been able to come out at a profit if you held it into the afternoon regardless. You just wouldn't have been able to get full TP. So I think here would have been like a 1-to-1 R, which, I mean, it's fine. It's better than nothing, right? But yeah. So yeah, that's essentially it. That's all I have to share here. If you guys enjoy this, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions about anything discussed here, please leave a comment and I will get back to you. With that being said, I will see you in the next video. Peace.